that's a stunning question, isn't it? So I suppose what I'm asking really is, are we communicating really the benefits of space properly? And if Sarah will give a wry smile, that was the opening question on episode 1 of Liftoff. Because the space sector is all glamorous and shiny and metal boots, but what value do you think that the space sector is providing to everybody?
Can I chime in really quickly?
Yeah, you can.
I want to just say this, and I'm trying to say this as nicely and kindly as I can. But part of the reason I wanted to become part of the space sector is in every other role that I was working in, I came across like hints of the sector, but it felt very like very much like a gentleman's club. Like you had a very exclusive, you had to like sign a form and just fill out this thing and get in. And I was like, what is going on in the sector? What are they building? Like I couldn't get any intel from anybody. Like what's going on? So finally, now that I'm in it, I'm like, wow, people need to know. Like I'm wanting to like yell it from the rooftops and like, so feel like, and I think this has been said by a lot of people, the sector is a bit of an echo chamber. Really lots of really talented people talking to each other about what they're needing, what they're doing. And there are kind of lines out into the business community, into industry, but they're quite selective. And I feel like more people need to know. Like I was at a dinner last week and they with a very high profile law firm trying to get investors. And they said, we had no idea. We've been in the UK for 50 years and we had no idea this is all the capability. Like that to me is kind of shocking. So I don't think that the sector is great at getting and engaging outward. And a lot of founders like yourselves probably don't have the time to do that. So you need outliers. You need other types of people coming into the industry that help you and facilitate those conversations. I'm one of them, hopefully, but we need lots more of that, I think. So that's my little preaching. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Mason, I mean, it's interesting because when Mason and I were first met, just nearly a year ago now, it was the whole idea was about designing a new space glove joint, etc. A very important part of the journey. But you've actually, some of your tech you're developing is actually going to be more applicable in other areas. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, to first answer your question, I would say we're really good at what we do. We're really bad at talking about what we do in this sector because a lot of it is specialized, or we think that it's kind of focused. But I think where space is heading, especially this space 3.0, this new space, is showing the world or showing people that space is just an application of technology. So any company, any kind of idea could work in space. But then that being said, solve for space, solve for Earth, solve for Earth, solve for space type of thing, that a lot of the challenges that we're solving in space actually could really help solve challenges on Earth. So yeah, we started out working on engineering projects, got involved into biotech, and Scotland has an amazing biotech community that thinks that they only work in silos, but actually under our previous CEO was able to find ways to cross that over, and now we've ventured into it. So we've got an antimicrobial substance that basically you put down on a surface once and it keeps the surface clean and sterile for 6 to 9 months, and it's non-toxic type of thing. No hard chemicals or anything like that. So we're finding applications in various sectors outside of the space, out with the space industry, military, medical, all these kind of areas, that this technology that's already at a TRL 6, and in some cases in the dentistry area is already a TRL 8, that we're adapting for space, but finding that clean rooms across the country could use this, or rocket propulsion systems that have water that sits around for a while. So it's trying to see where space could be cross-sectoral, as well as bringing new sectors into space and then talking about it. I think not to harp on a different direction a little bit, but I think both UKSA and Space Scotland, and now the Scottish and UK governments, are starting to see that we need to promote what's going on in space a bit more, so people just understand that these solutions and these technologies are out there that we never thought of before.
What comes across in all the conversations we have, not just with the four of you here, but everybody in the space sector, they're very passionate about communicating the broader story, the broader benefits. Again, it's a conversation which could go off in a completely different direction, but I'll try and keep some control in it. Sarah, what's from your perspective, though? Some would say, pardon me, that VLEO propulsion systems are very, very niche by definition. But in terms of what drew you into that, as opposed to as opposed to bringing your technology into other sectors?
Well, I'll give you an answer to this question, and I'll write back to the original one as well. So this technology was not developed initially for space. It was developed for UAVs, both on Earth and on Mars. So that's where the inception of the technology came from. So it was actually looking at Earth applications taken into space similarly as well. And it's just where we found it to be more useful, where it could bring more value, more impact to people. Whereas, I can make, eventually a drone that can oversee something, but if I can give it global coverage, global orbital coverage, the value just skyrockets, in terms of the benefits I can bring, from everything to leading towards better decision making. Can we see disasters from orbit? Can we really help with that mitigation strategies? Can we look at, agriculture, maritime, all these important industries we already, day to day, they're all happening in the background and they're sustaining us, in terms of food, in terms of our products, in terms of just everything like that in the society we live in. It's all, happening in the background, and so is space. Space is supplementing a lot of these activities. Yesterday, I was at a conference, at this big summit event in London. And one of the biggest questions I was asked coming from someone in the space industry was, do you believe in the moon landing? And it's to the point where, that is where, in a way, a lot of the general population is still at, it's still on the big rocketry missions, the astronauts, the everything else. And that is the one thing that they will ask you about, yes, obviously it's the whole maybe naivety, maybe not understanding, why haven't we been in the moon in 50 years? It's all valid questions. But it's to the point where we're still very much stuck on cold space and the kind of thrill of the exploration of 50 years ago, to where the light doesn't really shine as much on all the exciting new developments that are happening nowadays. And that's what I wish I could speak about, and that's what I wish more people were aware about, that we saw more on legacy media as well, if we saw more documentaries, more just news shows on new space than just focusing on the astronauts or the big government agencies, or nowadays more on the controversy from these large space companies trying to do a bit of their playground in space as well. So I think there's so much that can be done. I fully echo as well a lot what you said, Kate. I think we need more advocates, and we need to really shine a different light onto all the good that is being brought into from the space industry, so we can move away from things like, oh, is the moon landing even real? It's okay, it doesn't matter. Look at all the amazing things we're doing now. We're going back with Artemis. We're doing, all this amazing manufacturing, all this biology, all these different things in space. That's where I think is really fun to speak about.
It's funny, the general public love a bad space news story, don't they? That's the only, exactly. Yeah, that's the only time it seems to pop up of any seriousness, intent.